Nearly 17 million people believe that Jesus and Lucifer were brothers. How could anyone believe this lie? Let's take a closer look. Mormonism is a major religion founded in the 1830s in New York State by Joesph Smith, the son of a farmer who had a larger-than-life imagination. He was a self-proclaimed treasure hunter and had an affinity to tell entertaining stories from childhood. The 1830s was marked with commotion of spiritual awareness and revival from the Second Great Awakening. The Smith family was not overly religious, but found the energy tantalizing. They became associated with bizarre movements which broke away from the biblical source of the Great Awakening, and found themselves practicing what was called religious folk magic at the time. The cult pushed strange beliefs like the ability to find buried treasure through the use of seer stones, interpreting the future through astrology, folk medicine, and divination. On September 22, 1827, Joesph Smith claimed to have been visited by the angel named Moroni, who led him to the location of magical gold tablets with reformed Egyptian writing on them. With the use of his superstitious seer stone, he stared into the bottom of a hat with an interpreter nearby, pen in hand, ready to write down his every word. And the translated tablets, which were never presented as evidence, would become the Book of Mormon. Among its 530 pages, Joesph Smith reinterpreted Christianity into a completely new religion, which claims the following heresies. God the Father was once a man who became a god after death. God the Father had a wife, the Heavenly Mother. Jesus and Satan were the children of God the Father and the Mother's union, making them brothers. God the Father is not the only God. There are other gods over other planets in the solar system. Humans, through lifetime obedience, can become like God the Father after death and have endless celestial sex and populate their own universes. While on Earth, the number of wives you have is correlated to how high of a reward you will receive in the afterlife as your own God. Joesph Smith had 30 to 40 wives, with some as young as 14. God, in order to attain a body for his son Jesus in the incarnation, had literal sex with Mary. The angels, who were neutral in the battle in heaven, were cursed by God to have black skin and to roam on the earth, resulting in the racist view of the origin of Africans. The Native Americans in the USA are the actual Israelites mentioned in the Bible. After Jesus died on the cross, he teleported to America and preached to the natives. I stopped my list at 10 so that the majority of the video would not be me naming off the strange beliefs of the Church of the Latter-day Saints. If you would like to know more of these odd beliefs from the Mormons, which could easily surpass hundreds of points, please refer to this video. As per the title, we are only going to refute claim 3 on the list, that Jesus and Lucifer were brothers. In order to do this, I will provide irrefutable passages that show that Jesus and the Father are the same being, and that God created Lucifer through Christ. Colossians 1:16 through 17. For by him all things were created in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities, all things were created through him and for him. And he is before all things, and in him all things hold together. Lucifer is an invisible dominion or ruler. Paul is showing that he is under the authority of Christ because he created him. The Apostle John agrees with this in the opening of his gospel, saying, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made. John is using the phrase the Word as a name for Christ, showing that Jesus was with God in the beginning, that he was uncreated, and that he is God, and that through him all things in existence were made. This includes creatures, which Lucifer is. Ezekiel 28 outlines Lucifer's origin and says point blank that he was created. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day thou wast created, till iniquity was found in thee. Joesph Smith believed Lucifer and Jesus to be the same class of being, spirit children of the god El, as he claims. However, the book of Hebrews is absolutely clear that Christ is the creator of the angels and worthy of their praise and glory. Hebrews 1:3-6 says, Jesus is the radiance of the glory of God and the exact imprint of his nature. Let all God's angels worship him. Worship is to be attributed to God alone, as Matthew 4:10 says. And the author of Hebrews understands that Jesus is God, worthy of worship. Jesus never turns away worship from himself, like when Thomas calls Jesus God after the resurrection, declaring, "My Lord and my God." Colossians 2:9 says, "In Jesus the fullness of the Godhead dwells bodily." Wrapped up with Joesph Smith's false teachings on Jesus' identity is the Jehovah's Witnesses, who also distort the word, claiming that Jesus is merely the archangel Michael before he was incarnated as a man. The book of Hebrews is a great refutation of anyone that claims that Jesus is a lesser being like an angel. Hebrews says, speaking of Christ, "For to which of the angels did he ever say, 'You are my son, today I have begotten you'?" The answer to that rhetorical question is none. God never called any angels his son. Hebrews, written nearly 2,000 years ago, is actively refuting the idea that Jesus was an angel. There's nothing new under the sun. Joesph Smith fell prey to Lucifer's oldest trick, the temptation to be as gods. Lucifer desired worship above all else. He was prideful beyond belief. So when deceiving Joesph Smith, is it any surprise that he would craft a narrative in which he is on the level of Jesus and God? No, it's no surprise at all. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Renaissance Ministries with David Irwin. Make sure that you like and subscribe and that turning on the bell notification so you don't miss out my next video. God bless.